Well, hey, Whitney High School students, this is Mrs. Shelton, one of your assistant principals, and I am just going to take this time to do the annual review of our student handbook. Now, this is something that all students are required to review at the beginning of the school year, just to make sure that we are all on the same page and we all understand what is expected in order to make sure that we have a safe campus and all 2,000 of us can get along in a very positive way. The other reason we have some of these rules is to meet the goal of making sure you are college and career ready. The goal here is for you guys to finish your 4 years with a high school diploma in hand and be able to take that on to your next step, your next job, on to college, etc. Now, there's a link that I'm going to provide to your teachers for the Whitney High School Student Handbook. And also then at the end, there's a QR code, and there's also then another Google form where I do need you to acknowledge that you have actually listened to my torturous conversation here. I apologize. I'm trying to make this short, sweet, to the point, but we do have a lot of details to go along. Now, I'm not going to read all 30 pages of the student handbook for you. I'm just going to go over some of the highlights and some of the things that really tend to get some students in trouble for not understanding the rules. I highlighted it here: attendance policy, some discipline, some dress code, and the cell phone policy. Those are the ones that I'm going to go over. The rest, it's in the student handbook. Go look it up. Now, these are some of your team that are going to help you make sure that you are becoming college and career ready and that you have a safe, successful school year. This is me, the one talking here. Mr. Collins, this is Miss Gack, that's Miss Krasner. We are here to help you. Your amazing discipline tech team, your counselors are here to help you. And then we also have a Rockland police officer, Officer Westfall. He is our student resource officer. He is here to help you as well. Now, we also have new cameras on campus. So we have surveillance cameras. We got 8 additional ones that were added over the summer. So these, again, are all for you for us to help you guys stay safe on campus, is why we utilize these. Now, when it comes to discipline and some discipline issues, these are the common ones that we end up having to give students detention or we end up having to suspend a student for. So I want to make sure everybody understands what they are so nobody ends up getting those disciplinary actions against them. Now, dress code is what we're going to talk about first, because during WOW Week, we were actually pretty lax. We didn't remind anybody of what the Rockland Unified School District dress code is. Now, I have just copied and pasted the Rockland Unified School District, so this is board policy of what the dress code is, and their goal is to make sure that you are college and career ready. So they are asking you to wear clothing that is appropriate for the workplace. So therefore, I've highlighted in yellow the most commonly broken aspects of dress code. Your shirts have to have a strap, and they also need to cover your torso. I know the fashion industry right now says that tube tops are super cool and super cute. Well, not for school they are. So they're not appropriate for school. You have to have a shirt that has a strap, and you have to have a shirt that covers your torso. So if you have a belly button ring, I shouldn't know, and neither should any of the other staff on campus know. The other piece of the dress code that typically gets broken is that you cannot have any shirts that have an image or language that suggest anything that is not legal for a student to partake in. So nothing that actually insinuates drugs, alcohol, or any paraphernalia, no weapons, no hate speech. So again, these could be highly offensive to other students as well. So if we had lewd or obscene messages, so we're going to ask you to change your clothes. We have a box of old Whitney High School shirts, other shirts that people have left behind. They're clean, don't worry, but they're not very cute. And we will ask you to change your clothes if you are out of dress code. For the attendance policy, we have a lot of students who end up getting cuts for attendance and then get assigned detention, and they just didn't even know. They were absent from school, and their parents failed to verify that absence. So a parent actually has 5 days to verify an absence. So if you've got a doctor's appointment, you were homesick, double check with your parents that they have used the absence reporting form or they have called the attendance office in order to verify the absence. If you're 18 years old, you still have to verify your absence. So again, Everyone's expected to be at school, and if you're not at school, we need to know the why. For tardies, the tardy policy, if you're tardy, that means you showed up late to class. That means after the tardy bell rang. So when the tardy bell rings and you walk in, your teacher can mark you tardy. Now, this is also a college and career ready practice. If you are late to your job 4 times, you'd probably be fired. Now, your high school students, we're going to give you a little bit of grace that over the course of the year, you might end up being late to class 4 times on accident, something happened. Don't worry about the first couple of times. But by the 5th time, we're going to start assigning you automatically an hour of detention after the 5th tardy for just not respecting the fact that you need to be in class on time and not disrupt the learning environment. After 10 tardies, we start giving you an hour of detention for every single tardy. So please make it to class on time. Your teachers may also have a class policy or a class activity that gets impacted by you being late that you cannot make up. So your grade could also be impacted by you just being late to class. If you check into school, so if you arrive to school after 8:45 in the morning, you were just late, your alarm didn't go off, please just go straight to class. If it's pretty close to 8:45, you're still going to be tardy, but we need you to get to class as soon as possible in the morning. If you do arrive after 9 a.m., your teachers have already marked you absent, and so you do need to check in at the attendance office and verify why you were that late. When you leave from campus, you do need to check out through the attendance office, even if your parents have called in and you need to be leaving with a yellow early dismissal form. So please make sure that you check in or check out of school properly. Another area where students do get detentions is they cut pause. Now, pause, what you guys need to understand is that pause is instructional time. This is 30 minutes that's at the end of 3rd block that also ties into lunch. So between pause and lunch together, students do have the opportunity to have 1 hour of time where they can hang out with friends, eat lunch, but really pause is for you to get additional help in your classes. Now for pause, there are certain people who have to stay in pause. So if you had a no credit or no mark from the previous grading period, you have to stay in at pause. Teachers are given a roster, a list of those students who are supposed to just stay in their 3rd period class for that 30 minutes to work on additional homework. And if you happen to leave and you don't stay in pause, your teachers are going to submit a referral and you'll be assigned an hour of detention for that 30 minutes that you did not stay in pause as you were required. Now, some of your teachers, if you didn't pass an essential, your teachers need to see you for extra tutoring. They will write you a pass, and that still is required for you to then attend pause. So you can't just go, I don't want to go. If your teacher says you have to go, then you have to go. And if you don't go, you're going to get an hour of detention. So please utilize pause. Now, the other expectation we have for pause is for athletes. Some of our athletes have to leave school early for different contests. If you are missing a class due to athletics, we require you to utilize pause to go to those teachers and get help that you need. So please understand, pause is instructional time. That is not your lunch. That is instructional time for you to use for getting extra tutoring from any of your teachers or extra help that you need. Now, the campus map, another area that we have where students do get consequences is they find themselves out of bounds. Now, I say that, find themselves out of bounds. They really didn't just accidentally find themselves out of bounds. They chose to go out of bounds. Now, with that, our campus boundaries are the black fence that surrounds campus. So during the school day, from the time you check in at 8:45, that morning bell rings, you are expected to stay within the campus boundaries during class time. Now, we don't have a black iron fence out here on the blacktop, but we do have portables. K5 and K6 are missing from this map, but the portables are considered being in bounds, but that's only if you're going to the math classes that are out here, or to health or to geology. That's the only reason you should be out here, or if you're going to sports med out by the pool classroom. You have to have a class out there. You should never be out on the softball fields or out on the soccer fields or even out in the stadium unless you are there with a teacher for class purposes. You are considered out of bounds if that happens. Now, the other boundaries you should be aware of is your pause lunch boundaries. During pause and lunch, Tuesdays through Fridays, we do ask that all students stay within these red lines. So we still utilize the front gates, the front fence, but we actually limit all student access to just this space because, again, remember that pause is instructional time. So there are classes going on and teachers trying to teach back here during pause. So we can't have disruptions. And also at lunchtime, your teachers, by contract, are allowed to have 30 minutes of uninterrupted lunchtime. And so they do deserve it. Your teachers work very hard for you, and so they don't need to be disturbed by students back in this space. The third reason why we have these lunch boundaries is this is a huge campus, and there are 7 adults who are monitoring sometimes up to 2,000 students at a time. So we need to keep you in one set area so we can keep you guys safe and we can make sure that we are monitoring that behavior to ensure all student safety. Please understand that during pause and lunch, all of the bathrooms back here in these classrooms, we close. We do leave the F bathrooms open and we leave the cafe bathrooms open during pause and lunch in order to then keep all students here in the cafeteria and within these lunch boundaries near the amphitheater. We have also upgraded or improved our policies on campus to be able to follow the Rockland Unified School District cell phone policy. Please note this is copied and pasted from Rockland Unified School District Board policy. Cell phones and electronic devices must be put away and turned off during instructional time unless directed by a supervising staff member. That supervising staff member would be your teacher. So during class time, you should not have a cell phone or electronic device being used unless your teacher has given you permission. Now, when we say electronic devices, this means AirPods, this means headphones, this means your Chromebook. You're not supposed to be using those unless your teacher has allowed you to do them, given you permission. If they find you using an electronic device, board policy says that that device can be confiscated by school personnel and made available in the office for the student or parent to pick up after school. We have your parents come and pick up your electronic devices if you are not using them properly during class time. Be very mindful of your teacher's cell phone policy. All of your teachers have a cell phone policy where they're going to ask you to turn it off and put it away during class. Most of your teachers have a cubby like this or another little wooden cubby, but again, if you don't have it off and away and you're misusing it during class time or even using it unauthorized, they're going to confiscate it and they're going to turn it into the front office when they have time. So that might not be convenient for you, but please understand what the policy is and you are expected to follow it. Now, you are allowed, just to clarify, you are allowed to use your cell phone during passing period, at lunch, before school and after school. You just cannot use it during instructional time. You cannot use electronic devices. Now, this even includes instructional time where we're now using the Minga Hall Pass. That Minga Hall Pass is actually set up where you set it up on your device, and you have to ask permission first to even set up a digital Hall Pass, but you leave your device with your Hall Pass and timer going in class. Your cell phone should never be with you if you are out in the bathroom at lunchtime or running an errand as a TA. Other rules that we need to make sure we follow, we covered this with all of the students that got a parking permit, but you cannot be in the parking lot during the school day. That is outside of campus boundaries. And if we do find somebody out there, we are going to write you up for out of bounds. You'll have detention. And if you do have a parking permit, you're going to lose your parking permit. Seniors with an off period, be prepared to show your schedule. If you are leaving campus after lunch, be prepared to show that. And then also know too that if you do leave campus for an off period, you can't come back in the middle of campus bringing back Taco Bell or Dutch Bros to your friends. Once you leave campus, you have to stay off campus. For bikes and skateboards on campus, you cannot ride your bike, you cannot ride your e-bike, your skateboard, your scooter at any time on the Whitney High School campus. So if you are bringing your bike onto campus, push your bike onto campus and put it back in the bike lock and lock it up. Now, e-bikes, be aware, Rockland PD is actually cracking down on e-bikes that technically aren't bikes. So if your e-bike has big fat tires on it, can go over 30 miles an hour, and doesn't have pedals, then you're not riding an e-bike, you're riding what they consider a motorcycle, and you can be cited and not get your driver's license on time for that. So be aware of what the e-bike rules are. But again, no riding of a bike, an e-bike, a skateboard, or a scooter on the Whitney High School campus at any time. Something else that we need to make sure is crystal clear is you cannot have DoorDash deliver to you during the school day. You can't meet them out by the pool or in the upper lot at lunchtime and hope you don't get caught. Yeah, strangers delivering stuff to students during the school day, yeah, we frown against that. So that is not allowed. Now, your parents can bring you things to the front office. So if your parents need to drop something off for you, have them just come up to the very front office. We've got cubbies in that very front office door. They can just drop it there with your name on it, and you can come up during break or lunch in order to pick up that delivery that they have dropped off for you. Common sense things, you all know that these are rules that nobody should be breaking on campus. You should not be vaping. You should not be using any drugs. You should not be drinking any alcohol before you come to school or during the school day, or really at all. If you are doing any of these things during the school day, we know that you need help. This means that we're going to work with you. We're going to give you consequences, but we are going to work with you to try to get the counseling that you need in order to get the help that you need in order to break these bad habits that aren't going to lead to you having a positive, successful life. Now, if you are caught with any of these, we do involve our SRO. We talk to your parents. We talk to your counselors. So be aware that as administration, because we don't want you guys to be addicted or under the influence, we will search anytime we have reasonable suspicion. Most of the time when we have reasonable suspicion, it's because students are not using the bathrooms correctly. Use the bathrooms for going to the bathroom, not hanging out with friends, eating food, filming TikToks. Suspicious activity, when we can smell it, we can smell the overuse of body spray, we can see the vape clouds. If multiple people are in one stall, yeah, we're going to pull you all in and we are going to search you for suspicion of vaping or using something. So be aware. With that, this is what our metal detector looks like. If we do search you, we use a metal detector. We're not going to search you and make you feel uncomfortable. And we always have another adult present if we're searching your backpack or doing any search. So we try to be respectful, but please, you guys need to make sure that what the suspicious activity looks like so we don't ever have to search you. Common consequences for rule violations, oftentimes just warnings and talking to you, but detention is the most common thing. But if you don't serve your detentions, you're going to lose privileges. And then for the severe actions, we do suspend either on-campus suspension or off-campus suspension. When you do have to serve detention, it's up here in the administration office before school or after school, and also on Mondays. When we suspend, suspensions are for things that are very dangerous to the well-being for you and also for the rest of our student population. So if you've gotten in a fight, you will be suspended off campus. If you have been caught using a controlled substance, you will be suspended. If you vandalize or steal, those are reasons for suspension off campus. And then, of course, expulsions, we're going to ask you to not be a member of the Rockland Unified School District if you're somebody who really is a danger or a threat to everybody on campus. So if you are somebody who, again, you're going to bring a firearm to campus, that's an automatic expulsion. You sell a controlled substance on campus, that is an automatic expulsion. So please understand. We don't want to ever have to expel, but we're going to do that in order to keep the rest of the 2,000 students on this campus safe. Now, in the tone of safety, we offer an anonymous reporting system. So it's a catapult system. The anonymous reporting system, if you see something, please say something. If you worry about the safety of a friend or safety of others on campus, please go ahead and report that. It is linked to the Rockland Unified School District homepage and also the Whitney High School homepage. So click on that, report it, and again, we will make sure that we do our due diligence to investigate and keep everybody safe. So I do want to just thank you guys for taking the time to listen. I know it's torturous, but you did it. We got through it all. And in order to make sure you don't have to watch this again, please make sure that you acknowledge through the Google form or through the QR code that you watched it so we don't track you down and force you to watch this video again. But here it is, in all honesty, even though I talk about discipline, here at Whitney High School, we have amazing students, and I just really want to thank you guys for being awesome and making our jobs easier. And the fact that we can really focus on what's important is you guys having a great time, being safe here, and making sure that you achieve that high school diploma, and we get to smile and applaud as you walk that stage at the end of your senior year. So thank you, Whitney High School students, and I will see you around campus.